Welcome to The Voice of Business. I'm your host, Kathy Manis, and on this show we'll be featuring various businesses in Strathroy and area. Later on, we'll visit Commonwealth Financial in their new location, and we'll stop by Salvation Army. First up, we're in beautiful downtown Strathroy, visiting Doug and Marion's bike sales and repairs.
We have a number of kids. We have 8 kids, and when the kids always have their bikes break down, my husband Doug fixed them up, and it just led to kids brought friends, and friends brought more friends, and next thing you know, let's go to Doug and Marion's and get our bike fixed. It was like we had the tools, he had the time, and it just one thing led to another. So we worked out of our house, garage, our basement for a while, and then we got into new stuff and put an offer on the store downtown, the Working Hub, which is down the road there. We didn't get the store. They didn't take our offer, so I said, oh, what are we going to do? And you know what, we both worked full-time too at that time too, so we didn't worry about it. Then we got a call saying, we got the store, like, just like that. So all of a sudden, things all changed at our household. And so yeah, it's been 28 years. So the Working Hub is at 25 Front Street West. So when we started out with that, it was just a store that we gutted. Actually, it was an office with a whole bunch of office rooms. We gutted all the walls out. We had to redo the back parking lot just by the weeds and everything else. But the store itself, upstairs there was apartments in it with the old cast iron bathtubs and the sinks and all that. So when we got stock in, we would drag it up there. Then we would drag a box down one by one, build it, and then we'd take it back up there because we just didn't have the room. It didn't have it all designed. But now upstairs there has the bikes all there also. And we have bikes down in the basement. So from outside of the building, it looks small, but when you walk in and people say, oh, there's a lot of stuff here. And I said, this is the smallest floor. It kind of impresses them that way. So then this store here, 17 Front Street West, our son has the building and we're just kind of renting from him because he had a tenant, they left. So it's easier for some people for us to walk them over here because of the comfort bikes that we have in here. And it's easier for us to bring them here than rather go up the stairs with some of the handlebars and everything else. Big fat tire bikes are not as easy for me to carry up. So we have this floor here, and then upstairs, it's like a 2-store building. So right across, upstairs there's 2 areas with a downhill, cross country, and something like a museum. So when you go upstairs after, you'll see some of the older bikes that we've had back in as a trade-in that were one of the originals when we first started. So my son and my husband wanted to keep them as a souvenir, so they hung them on the wall upstairs just to bring back memories. I did have different jobs, so I was able to take things in, and then when Doug would come home at night, he would spend time on doing repairs and things like that. So when we started up here, I was working night shift at a different job, so I could be through the day here, and then when he got home, he would come up here and do the repairs, and I would kind of have some sleep and go to work. There can be long days, like we're here early and we do stay late if people call and ask if we'll stay late. But it's just, I don't know, it's like a home away from home. We're here more than we are probably at home. It's just nice to see the people in the street and say hi and see your neighbors. These are our neighbors, really, including our neighbors at home. But we see our neighbors, the people here, more downtown. It's like home. Shopping for a bike is harder than getting a car because there's so many different models and makes right now, right? There's so many changes now with disc brakes and the different sizes of tires, and the last couple of years there's been a lot of big changes on some of the bikes. It's hard actually to buy a bike as a gift without the person being there because we want to make sure that the bike fits properly. Same with the helmet. We want to make sure it fits properly, otherwise, you know what, it's a waste of money and it's not going to be any good. Some stores don't even carry kids' bikes because they don't want to be bothered, because sometimes, like my husband says too, that changing some of the smaller wheels is tough to do. But you know what, if you don't have the kids' bikes, how will you ever get them to come back when they have kids or when they get older? Because there's a lot, it's so cool to hear, kind of makes me feel old, that when you hear them saying, oh, this is where my mom and dad got my bike and now they're bringing their kids back for their kids' bikes. A lot of folks, semi-retired and retired, are looking for bars on a bike to sit up. But there's also, like, you know, yesterday I sold a bike to an 80-some-year-old lady. She wanted the low step, and her husband was 92 and they're still biking. So It was kind of cool actually for them to be biking, but she just needed to be able to get that low step to get over the bike and get it on and off properly. There are some people that come and they probably maybe go home with totally something different than what they came in for because they didn't know that was there to be offered for that different flexibility for them. I won't ride my bike unless I have my helmet on. So when Doug asks me to go out and try out a bike, lots of times I'll say no because my helmet's not here, but 18 and under is law and parents can get fined for that if they don't have a helmet on. Even our own son, once he goes without a helmet and he ends up getting caught in transit track with his front wheel and he flips over and has a concussion. That can be done to anybody, any age. It might not be your own fault. You can be the safest rider on the road, but if someone cuts out in front of you and you have to stop dead in your tracks and you flip, it's you that have to suffer the consequences and it's your life that it might change. There are things with change in its own industry, like some of the companies we deal with, they're going through a lot of change, and I think some of that change is through government, paperwork and everything, like wage increase. That really puts an impact on a small business and it just trickles down the line. And so we see a lot of changes. They're cutting out this or they're cutting out that. And I think it's because if they're full staff and they have to, you know, with wages and stuff like that, then it affects us down the road too, which affects the customer. Like even, I tried to find a large gel seat cover for a customer. 3 of our suppliers don't sell them anymore. Why? Because they're probably cutting out some of those SKUs because they can't carry it because maybe they got overhead somewhere else. I don't know. So there is change. The last 2 years have been the most notable changes that have come around.
Welcome back to The Voice of Business. Next, we're going to visit the Salvation Army.
Well, for us, the Salvation Army is first and foremost a ministry. We consider everything we do here, from running the store to the food bank, as a part of the ministry that God has called us to. Everything you see in the store is basically a donation, and everything from a little bit of furniture, small items of appliances, lamps, lots of dishware, as you can see, plenty of clothing, men, women, and children. And we also in the store, we have 40 items that we put on in a bidding process. So something unique comes in, something that's some people might think it's vintage, then some of these things go into a bidding process. We try to keep it down to the best price possible so that people can get a better bang for their dollar. I've been an officer for 41 years, and I guess I should clarify that. Officer, ordained pastor of the Salvation Army for 41 years. My wife's been ordained officer, minister for 42 years, and that journey has taken us from Newfoundland to Vancouver and points in between. We've lived in 7 of the different provinces, and the most exciting thing about what we do is being with people. Whether that in years gone by been ministering in a congregation or where we are now in social services, our biggest asset are the people that we minister to.
We are the thrift store. Some people figure that's just it, but we do have a small waiting area for our food bank. But then we have them come into our office and we deal with them on a one-to-one basis. And so that things are private for them. And sometimes it's not only the food situation that they come for, they do need some support, maybe in trying to find other resources within town or outside of town, like into London or areas like that. And sometimes they just need someone to talk to. And we're there to do that. So it's our ministry to listen to people, see where they are, see where their needs are, and see what we can do best for them. What you see around me is our food bank, where we store our food when people make donations for our food bank that we provide to low-income families, people who've maybe gone through a hard time, finding it hard to make ends meet, so we're able to help in the community to provide them with food. And toilet paper, shampoo, like toiletries and that kind of thing. So it means further hygiene, which I think is very important as well, because those things are expensive these days. So we try to provide what we can there, as well as we do like the backpacks for school and for families that come in if they're requiring a backpack. So we do have that, and we do have like companies like to donate. We do have Little Caesars that provides pizzas for us, so that helps us then to offer something extra in regard to what we supply in our food bags. Our food bank is open on Monday, Wednesday, Thursday. It's not by appointment. They can just walk in and then we will serve them. They come in, they have to provide identification, those types of things, identification, source of income, proof of address, and then we will assess their need by their expenses and their income. And from there we will determine like what they will require in regard to their food. So then we will provide them with a bag of food or a couple of bags of food, depending on the size of the family. And any additional things that we have sometimes that are donated, we will add some extras as well. We find that during probably around March, especially when you're coming up to March break and those types of things, then we find that our supplies are down. Then there are times, like right now, sometimes we may run short on a few things, sort of like juice and like beans and those kinds of things. So sometimes we have to put a plea out for those kind of items. So basically, you know, the early part of March, sort of the winter season, and in part way through the summer is where we kind of go low. We do have a number of food drives throughout the year, which will come from, like, say, Superstore, Giant Tiger, different organizations, schools. Particularly at Christmas time, we have a lot of food donations come in. So as they come in, we bring them in, and then they're sorted, and everything is put into categories, so that helps us then to pack our hampers that we would need for each individual family, because we do break down our families. Like, we have single people, then we have families of 2, 3, families of 4, 5, and then naturally then 6 and up, and because that way then it will depend on the amount of food that we give to each family.
The kettle campaign is very important to us, along with the letter campaign that we send out the same time in November. We run the kettle campaign from the middle of November to Christmas Eve, and without the funds there, we couldn't do what we do either. So people are our most important asset, whether they're a customer or whether they're a donor of financial resources or the things you see here in the store. The store in this form has been here since 2007. We've been in Strathroy since March the 28th, 1884. So we've been here for 134 years, and we celebrate our years by putting on a 50% off sale right through the store on everything in the store. So the last weekend in March of 2019, we will celebrate our 135th anniversary, and we'll have a store-wide 50% sell-off. And we also serve cake and coffee that day. So, you know, that's a added attraction for people to fill their stomachs, and as you can see, I don't need to fill mine, but anyway, that's the way it is.
Strathroy is a beautiful little community, and people are always friendly. People are there to help you out. People are there when you have a need, and it's just one of those quaint little communities that, you know, when you walk away from it, you can say it's quiet, but yet it seems to be getting really busy, but yet it's still a quiet little community, and people are there.
The thing that I would say about Strathroy that really stands out is the support and respect that they have for the Salvation Army in this community. Some businesses will put on toy drives and food drives. Schools will put on the same. The local hospital there will put on a toy drive and a food drive. There are service clubs in our community that supports us as well. They all participate, and that's what's so exciting about being in Strathroy. We could not do what we do in this community without the generosity of the people of this community and surrounding areas. For a small town the size of Strathroy, you know, they're super. For a small town, like I say, I believe they're second to none. It's a great experience being in Strathroy and realizing that people are a part of your ministry.
Well, this actually started in 1979. Our founder, Marion started Commonwealth Financial. She's been operating out of the Strathroy, Watford, Alvinston, and Glencoe areas for the last 40 years. My wife, Stephanie, and I bought the business from her and continue to operate it as Commonwealth Financial starting in 2017. This is a family business. It is my wife's aunt that we bought it from, and as hard as it can be to carry on a legacy of someone so successful, I can't say enough about the hard work that everyone puts in to help make it successful, and Marion is still a very big part of this business as well, which has helped us with the transition as we continue to learn and to grow, and we get to do it as a team. We live and have worked in the area before joining the team at Commonwealth Financial and before buying the business. But what we really like about the Strathroy area is the quality of financial services here. Strathroy is home to all of the major banks, some top-notch insurance and legal services as well. So when our clients think about doing business, they think about coming to Strathroy, and we wanted to be a part of that. We feel that any business has a certain amount of obligation to give back to their community and to improve their communities as well, whether that's through donation, whether that's through manpower, or just working the best they can to make the community a better place. We don't have a lot of walk-in traffic, and one of the unique features of our business is that we are built on referrals and referrals only. So if someone wants to do business with Commonwealth Financial, they do need a referral to be doing business with us. But the interesting thing about Commonwealth Financial and one of the unique features that we have is that we are built on 4 different pillars of our business. The first pillar being the investment side of our business, which is the most of what we do. We also have a full insurance department, we have a tax department, and do estate planning as well. So that's the 4 pillars of our business that we maybe don't see advertised. I would say one of the biggest changes that we've seen is we have moved locations within the last couple of months. So we were located downtown Strathroy in the Kenwick Mall for the last 15 years, but the opportunity came up to buy a standalone building, to have a place to call our own. We did expand in square footage when we came over to this building, did renovations to make it our own, and we're really, really happy here. When we moved to this new location, one of the things we wanted to focus on was investment back into our community. So not just making the statement that we're here to stay and we are here to be in the Strathroy area doing business with residents of Strathroy and the surrounding area, but we also were able to invest back in the community through our builders and suppliers that we use to do the renovations as well. So it was mutually advantageous for everyone involved in the process. We do see a lot of overlap within businesses, but a lot of what we do and a lot of the other business in town also have unique features that kind of make them stand alone or stand out from the competition as well. I would say the hardest part about owning the business is just setting a vision for the next 30 years. Because we plan on being here for the rest of our working careers. That's when we focus on our long-term goals, that's where we see ourselves as being a part of the Strathroy community for the next 30 years. But what does this business look like in 30 years? What do our clients look like in 30 years? That's kind of the unknowns that we have to work with a little bit. I would say one of the toughest parts about owning and operating the business right now is having to say goodbye to clients that we've had for decades been part of Commonwealth Financial. Marion, our founder, created some incredible relationships and business relationships that lasted 40 years, but we all have a timeline attached to us, and so that can sometimes be the hardest part, is saying goodbye to long-term relationships. And the best part is providing the knowledge and understanding of how advantageous a drop in the markets or volatility in the markets can be, and how much it will help you grow your wealth long term.
Welcome back to the Voice of Business. Next, we're going to visit Arkona Fairways.
Arkona is a small community golf course. We were built in '87. It's family run, which is kind of a unique situation because there's not committees and other people. I mean, I have to answer to basically one guy.
My dad actually built the course from scratch. It was a family farm. He actually, at 27 years old, went to go golfing. There was only 3 local courses in the area at that time. So him and his friends went out. They couldn't get on any of those golf courses. They were too busy. So he came home and he said, I'm going to build a golf course. And then he did. From the road or from the scorecard, it's very hidden. You can't really tell what we actually have here. It's such a hidden gem. I mean, the terrain here, from the front 9, it's flat with all the water hazards, and then the back 9's more hilly with the matured tree lines. It's just really special. The grounds are always kept in great shape. We also try to maintain and upgrade something every year. So every spring you'll come in and there'll be something different, whether it's on the grounds, in the clubhouse, or offering a different service. We just try to keep up with the times.
We've did a whole lot of tree work out here, so we've cropped up a lot of trees, so now you can actually go in and get your ball. You're not actually going to have a great shot, but you can find your ball and move on.
It looks beautiful now. Like, everything is in well-maintained shape. We actually have 3 sets of tee blocks now. We used to only have 2, so the yardage is a little bit longer. Inside the bar and grill, we have new pub tables, a new pub side. We stay open longer, and we do more events now, so we do more banquets, and we do weddings now as well, which is new. So we do them right on the grounds, and that's all done through my family and I to make it a special day for everybody.
Kind of started my golf course industry up in the Collingwood area. I have a daughter that lives here, and she was getting ready to have some kids, so my wife wanted to move down this area, so here I am, and I got the gig here at Arkona Fairways. My day begins at 6:30, 6 o'clock in the morning. Generally cut greens, tees, fairways, get the guys rolling. I've got a very small staff at Arkona because we're a short course. We try to maintain it as best we can with our budget, and yeah, you know, we're usually done by 2 o'clock in the afternoon, 3 o'clock, depending on the weather, of course. It's kind of a unique place out here because I also am the mechanic. Basically, I wear 6 or 7 different hats out here, so in that aspect, I learn a lot of everything, and which is good. So, and I enjoy it.
I have 2 sisters, and the 3 of us growing up, none of us wanted anything to do with this place, and I think it clicked about, grade 11-ish. I started to like golf a little more. My boyfriend started to like golf a little more, and as the years went on, I kind of said to him, I think I could do this. I think I want to do this, and it helps that my husband has grown up with us now. So we both really like the business side. We both like golfing so much that we decided this is something we want to do, carry on the family name. My husband and I are very excited to take over and be the 2nd generation to actually own the business that will be coming up. We're also, like I said, going to maybe build a spot for more permanent weddings, to have that. And we pick a project every winter, so it just depends what it is, whether it be, something on the grounds with extending a tee block or making a hole longer. We'd like to raise the par up here. I know right now it seems like a shorter course. However, with all the hazards and the terrain that we have, it makes up for the yardage shortage. But we would like to actually get the par to a 70 so it looks better on the scorecard for people to come out. We've had staff members who are adults now. They started here as kids. They met their significant others here, so they've gone on to get married, and now their kids work here. So, I mean, we've had members here that have been here from the beginning. So when you walk in, it feels homey, it feels small town. We treat everybody as they are from the town, no matter where they're coming from. So I think that's actually special. It just makes it more of you can feel the family-owned aspect when you come in the door. It definitely has its perks, it has its downfalls as well, but for the most part, we all have our own jobs, we all have our own things, we do our own things, we get along really well. so that helps. My sisters, they'll come in and help anytime we need them as well. So luckily we have a great family dynamic that keeps this place going. It is fun, you know, especially some of our older members, they come out every morning. So I mean, they don't skip a day, even when it's snowing, raining, they're here. And they knew me when I was a baby. So they talk to me like I'm still that little kid, even though I'm now running the pro shop. So it's definitely cool. Now they get to see my kids grow up. It just makes my time coming to work much more enjoyable. It makes my parents' time coming to work much more enjoyable. And I think for them, having the loyal clientele, even within their own group, it keeps them coming back year after year.
And that's all for this episode of The Voice of Business. I'm your host, Kathy Manis, and thank you for joining us, and we'll see you next time.